Live 5 News starts now with a First Alert Severe Weather Alert.
Right now, heavy rain continues to cover the low country and is expected to impact your drive into work in the morning. Lisa Wiseman in the First Alert Storm Center with our chief meteorologist, Bill Walsh.
Yeah, that's right. Bill says that you're definitely going to need that umbrella tomorrow, and be careful when you head out in the morning for that morning commute because of the rain.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch it right here. The very latest from the Hurricane Center. What we're talking about, the storm is about 50 miles to the southeast of Charleston. The thing is, it's going nowhere fast, and that's the deal. Let me show it to you. What we're going to talk about with the storm will be the slow motion of the storm, the chance of rain right here, and let me go ahead and show you where it is right now as we speak. Just to the southeast of Charleston. Here's Charleston. There's the storm to the southeast. Still pumping in a lot of moisture, but mostly right along the coastal counties from Charleston on up in toward Georgetown County. Still getting some rain, but the rain back inland is pretty much ended with the storm system. And as we take a look right now is how much rain over the last 24 hours, almost 3.5 inches in northern Charleston County, a little more than 3.3 out toward the airport down south, up to an inch, inch and a half. So you can see that purple area where we've seen an awful lot of rainfall. Now, these are the current warnings. Nothing changed. Still a tropical storm warning, but that's for the boaters offshore, not onshore. We do have a flash flood watch we'll continue to keep an eye on. All right, this is the latest I was just talking about from the Hurricane Center. 32.1 north, 79.8 west. Bottom line with this storm is just drifting to the east-northeast at about 5 miles an hour. This storm is going no place fast. In fact, it's cut off from the upper level winds, so it's just going to kind of drift off to the east. This is Thursday. This is Friday. This is Saturday. It's just going to hang around out there, and there's a lot of shear with this storm, so the thunderstorms are being ripped apart. So it's not in great shape, which is good. We don't want to see a storm in great shape sitting over the Gulf Stream. So bottom line is it's just going to hang around out there. And look at the models. You talk about, we talk about the spaghetti models. This looks like some kind of cartoon. The model's having a hard time with this because the upper air really is very, very weak. So bottom line is we take a look at the future tracker. This is our first alert as to what to expect with the storm as far as rainfall. At this point, 6 o'clock in the morning, we're seeing maybe a shower, but most of the stuff is transferred off to the east. And again, you can see as we head on into, say, tomorrow night, we get back into some drier air on the other side of the storm. So as we go to the threat board, we're going to keep rain in our forecast at least through the first half of tomorrow at a very high 10. Strong winds, not a huge issue. It'll be breezy out there. Tornado threat right now is a 2, but we'll probably lower that. And again, we've already seen up to 3+ inches of rain. We'll keep the threat con at 3. 10's the highest for a major impact here in South Carolina. That's pretty low because of the rain. Now, don't go to bed yet. Yeah, we're talking about your day tomorrow, your drive to school, the kids at the school bus. What about the weekend? All coming up live right here in a few minutes.
And right now, about 300 people are without power in and around the town of Ravenel. Crews with SCE&G on the scene working to get that power restored. Now, we're told that the outage is a result of Tropical Storm Julia. And right now, unfortunately, we don't have any word on when that power will be restored. In the streets of downtown, they're returning to normal now after being flooded all day.
Our Colby Satterfield has been covering those flooded roadways all evening long. Colby, I'm sure you weren't alone out there today.
Lisa, I talked to people all day, and some people say they were inconvenienced by the floods, but also some people told me sometimes you just have to take your shoes off and trudge through the water.
From Ashley Avenue to Haygood Street to Sumter Street and to South Market Street, downtown saw its fair share of flooding tonight.
It was inconvenient.
Vanessa Choi says her bus dropped her off further from her house than it normally would because the water made the road impassable.
Get off the bus and walk through the water. I wasn't expecting it, but I knew it's been happening, but I wasn't expecting to walk back home off the bus.
But she says it was only an inconvenience.
Not upset, just inconvenient, that's all.
She's not the only one making the best in a bad situation. The California couple had their own taste of the floods tonight.
We ended up actually having to take our shoes off in order to get to dinner on time, right? I mean, our reservation was at 6, and we had to cut across the riverbank here.
The river being South Market Street.
You know, it was a significant amount of water that was actually moving. And so we took our shoes and socks off and we actually walked across, and it was kind of fun.
And they say getting caught in the storm was an experience they'll have to share.
You know, it's something we can put on Facebook and tell our friends about.
Now right now I'm right off Haygood Street where you can see the road closed sign is still there, but all the water is off the road right now, and also downtown South Market Street is back open. Live in downtown Charleston, Colby Satterfield, Live 5 News.
Edisto Beach was battered about by Tropical Storm Julia. Water could be seen on many of the roadways there, changing 4-lane roads into 2. The beach town still dealing with cleanup after Tropical Storm Hermine came through nearly 2 weeks ago. Officials aren't expecting severe damage from Julia, just a lot of rain and winds.
And just so you know, all the local school districts are holding class tomorrow. They say that they are tracking the tropical storm closely, though. The Charleston County School District says if there is flooding in the morning, they are prepared to adjust schedules, but only for schools in affected areas. Of course, we'll let you know if something happens. So before you go to bed tonight, be sure to download our Live 5 News and weather apps. We'll update you on any changes by sending you an app alert right to your phone.
And Carter says they're running on a normal schedule tomorrow, but they advise you to check their schedule just in case of any possible detours or delays. Low Country leaders demanding a meeting to explain their plan to complete 526. At a press conference this afternoon, Charleston County Council Chair Elliott Summey says if the State Infrastructure Bank chair refuses to meet with him by September 26th, he may consider legal action. Council didn't go into great detail about their plan, but said the project would be done in phases and a toll road is no longer an option. The project would extend the interstate onto James and Johns Island and is expected to cost about $725 million. However, the State Infrastructure Bank shut down the 526 project when the county failed to come up with the plan for coming up with additional monies that were necessary to finish it.
Deputies in Florida say they were able to arrest the man who set fire to a mosque on the anniversary of 9/11 thanks to tips from the community. Joseph Schreiber is charged with arson. Deputies in St. Lucie County say he lit a local mosque on fire on Sunday night. The mosque burned for 5 hours before those flames were put out. Deputies say Schreiber made a lot of anti-Islamic posts online. The mosque was the one where Orlando nightclub shooter suspect Omar Mateen frequently prayed. Charleston City's Board of Architectural Review postponed looking at plans for a research building downtown. The 8-story research and office building is part of the West Edge project going up on Lockwood Boulevard and Spring Street near Brittlebank Park. That area will include housing, offices, restaurants, shops, and a Publix. The board said no decision was made tonight because the submission was insufficient, so they'll need to revise and resubmit.
Happening tomorrow, North Charleston City Council will hear plans to put a new grocery store in a center that's been empty for years. Shipwatch Square sits on 18 acres near Rivers and McMillan Avenues in the middle of what's known as a food desert in the southern part of the city. They call it a food desert because there are no grocery stores for miles around. Appian Investments wants to buy the lot from the city for $3.3 million. It plans to put in a grocery store, office spaces, retail, and multifamily housing. Now, tomorrow you can get a chance to hear from the 9 candidates who are running for the Charleston County School Board. They'll be asked their opinion on how to improve your child's public education right here in our community. It will be held at the International Longshoremen's Association Hall on Morrison Drive downtown from 6 to 7:30.
The man accused of killing a North Charleston police officer may have to face the death penalty. The Cleveland County District Attorney says they plan to seek the death penalty against Irving Fenner Jr. He's accused of shooting Shelby officer Tim Brackeen over the weekend. Fenner appeared before a judge in Rhode Island in just the past few hours to be arraigned. 3 other people there are also charged with harboring a fugitive. Last night, officers raided a home in Providence. That's where they say they found Fenner. Investigators say the people in the home with him were helping him care for a gunshot wound, which he reportedly got during his encounter with Officer Brackeen. Police say Fenner has a bullet lodged between his ribs still.
Also tonight, a UNC Chapel Hill football player accused of raping a student on campus out of jail. Junior linebacker Alan Artis turned himself in to police today. A student came forward claiming that he raped her in an on-campus apartment back in February. Delaney Robinson claims university police treated her as a suspect while giving Artis a very different response.
Coming up in the next 90 seconds, we have new details about the suspect accused of shooting a teacher in Charlotte last week.
And an 86-year-old woman trending all over social media for what she had to say to the woman accused of robbing her. In Charlotte right now, police are investigating an officer-involved shooting that has left one man dead, a man we're told is from the Lowcountry.
Yeah, within the hour, that man has since been identified as Keith Lamont Scott. By the way, you're looking at pictures here from the scene. That is a reporter. We're taking a peek in on our affiliate there in the area, taking a look in as their reporters get set to bring this story to you.
Crowds are growing. Tens of thousands are watching this live on Facebook app. Some protesters are streaming it on social media. And we have some of these pictures that you're seeing from that were taken earlier this evening, showing what happened. Once word got out, people started showing up, and of course the police presence increased as well. It happened around 4 o'clock today at an apartment complex there, where officers say they were searching for a person with an outstanding warrant.
Yeah, that's when they say the man got back out of a vehicle, quote, armed and possibly a threat to officers. So that is when officers say they fired at him.
But a woman who claims to be Mr. Scott's daughter, she has a completely different story. She live streamed the scene on Facebook, where she says her father was unarmed when he was tasered and shot. She also says her father was disabled and scared of the officers. We're told that he was from the James Island area and had been living in Charlotte most recently. Now, the Charlotte Mecklenburg police officer has been identified as Brentley Vinson. He's been placed on paid administrative leave, which is a standard procedure with any officer-involved shooting. He has been employed with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department since July of 2014. Now, live team coverage tonight as Charleston County Council moves forward with 3 major projects that just might have an impact on you. Extending I-526 onto James and Johns Island, and adding a bike lane on the Ashley River Bridge, and revitalizing the DuPont-Waupun area of West Ashley, known as DUWAP.
Start with 526, where council approved $500,000 of your tax dollars for a study to see how extending the road onto James and Johns Island will affect the environment. Our Alexis Simmons was at that meeting. She joins us now live where that meeting just ended. How did people react to tonight's decision, Alexis?
Lisa and Raphael, of course, there were mixed reaction. There's almost always a debate about this I-526 completion project. But, you know, the general consensus today is that a lot of people are just tired of talking about it, and they say it's getting in the way of other projects that could be getting done in Charleston County.
Something has to be done. I hope today is a vote of confidence going forward.
I'm against it. I don't think the road would provide any benefits to match the cost.
Tonight, several community members came out to voice their support and concerns with the I-526 completion project. Chairman of the Charleston County Council, Elliott Summey, says he is taking steps to get the money back from the State Infrastructure Board.
So we allocated $500,000 tonight to the DOT to finish the 526 permitting process, which is about 95% of the way done. That will hopefully establish with the SIB that we are serious about this project.
In May, the board decided to take away the $420 million of funding they allocated for the completion of I-526 because the county did not meet the deadline for plans to come up with the remaining funds for the $720 million project.
526 issue has prevented any other motion and movement on improving roads on Johns Island in particular for the last 10 or 15 years. This just keeps going on and on and on.
Rich Thomas says he believes the money should go to other projects that could improve the region, while Tory Phil says he's in support.
We can't keep on having people move here. We can't keep on building stores. We can't keep on building things and don't build roads. Don't build what we need for infrastructure. So we have to get this done.
There's also frustrations among some council members on the amount of time I-526 has consumed during meetings.
It's not going away. It takes 3 parties to walk away from a contract, and 2 of the 3 don't want to walk away.
And the State Infrastructure Bank is planning to meet with the Charleston County Council within the next 2 weeks to decide how they should allocate that $420 million. At this time, we don't know whether or not the county will receive those funds or not. I'm live in North Charleston. Alexis Simmons, Live 5 News.
Thanks, Alexis. New developments tonight on the Ashley River Bike Lane project as well. Charleston County voted to have the South Carolina Department of Transportation take another look at the bridge before they move forward. Now, this project will connect bicyclists and pedestrians from West Ashley to Charleston. The bike lane would replace a vehicle lane going from West Ashley into downtown Charleston and, of course, make it easier and safer for bikers and walkers to move between the two regions. Colby Satterfield was at the meeting and tells us what the DOT is going to be deciding within the next 60 days. Colby.
Roth, the council voted to give the DOT 60 days to check on and let the council know if the bridge is structurally sound enough to hold a bike lane. Now, I talked to drivers who say they need that fourth lane and also people who say the cyclists do too.
I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. To have been that close to being thrown over the side of a bridge is a terrifying experience.
Davario Reed was riding his bike home when a car going 45 miles an hour hit him as he was leaving the Waffle House right at the end of the Ashley River Bridge.
4 surgeries, a skin graft, and over 60 stitches later, I'm able to stand back on the leg.
He says the force of the car obliterated his bike and sent his belongings flying over the bridge, and also breaking his leg in a spiral fracture.
It could have been prevented by not delaying this project so many times.
A traffic study was done to see the impact of only having 3 lanes coming from West Ashley to downtown. The study found it didn't have a major impact, but some drivers disagree.
The traffic was backed up tremendously. I mean, it just wasn't moving. Now, once it got to the foot of the bridge where they did the study, hey, it went across the bridge just fine.
The bridge doesn't support the traffic pattern that we now have, and to add bike traffic to that, closing 1 lane, which would be necessary for the bikes, it would just congest traffic miles in all directions.
Yet people who support the bike lane say it's the only way for bikers to keep safe.
Currently, there's no safe way to walk or ride a bike across the bridge between downtown and West Ashley, and it disconnects our city. This will connect our city for everyone, not just those driving a vehicle.
Again, the DOT has 60 days to examine the bridge and let the council know what it finds. Live in North Charleston, Colby Satterfield, Live 5 News.
And County Council also talked about revitalizing an area of West Ashley near Wapu and Dumont Roads near the Citadel Mall. Tonight was the final public hearing before plans will be finalized and go before County Council for a vote. Those plans include bringing in small businesses, making drainage better, and improving the road and bike lanes. All new tonight at 11, Berkeley County deputies have arrested a man for a drive-by shooting in Goose Creek over the weekend. 20-year-old Elijah J. Jr. is charged with unlawful possession of a weapon during a violent crime and discharging a firearm into a vehicle. The shooting happened Saturday on Rosedale Avenue at Princeton Road. Deputies say one of the victims was hit in the stomach. The investigation continues.
A rally held tonight in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where community members there are calling for the arrest of an officer who shot and killed an unarmed black man. Terrence Crutcher's family says he was waiting for help Friday night after his SUV broke down. Video of the incident spread all over the internet, showing Crutcher walking back to his SUV with his hands upraised. He was tasered and he was shot. The officer, Betty Shelby, is on paid administrative leave following the incident.
And new tonight, federal officials say the man who planted bombs in New York City and New Jersey bought bomb ingredients on eBay. Ahmad Khan Rahami is now facing federal charges as well as charges in both those states for the attacks that left more than 24 people hurt. He remains in a hospital tonight where he was taken after a shootout with police yesterday.
Looking ahead to stories you'll hear about tomorrow, State Representative Wendell Gilliard and Chip Limehouse will be hosting a forum. The Black or White Race Relations Forum will be held to discuss the issue of race here in the state as well as across the nation. That forum will be held at the College of Charleston Library on Calhoun Street at 3 p.m.
And City of Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg is inviting you to come out tomorrow morning and join him for a cup of joe. The event is open to the public and gives people the chance to speak one-on-one with the mayor. It's happening at the Charleston Coffee Exchange off Ashley River Road beginning at 7:30 a.m.
And with no threat of a tropical storm in sight, the West Ashley Farmers Market will officially open for business tomorrow. The opening had been originally scheduled for the beginning of the month, but with all that rain caused by Julia, they had to push it back. The long-awaited event kicks off at 3:30 from 3:30 to 7:30 at Ackerman Park and runs through October 26th.
Hopefully the weather does hold off for that tomorrow, and you know, fall is just a couple of days away at this point.
Yeah, you ready for those pumpkin spice lattes? They're going to be in the forecast soon. Chief Meteorologist Bill Walsh joins us now with those details. You'll need a cup of, what is it?
Piping hot
latte.
Piping hot latte, absolutely. You're starting to see pumpkin everything out there. And in fact, hopefully we'll get some piping hot Joe weather over the next few weeks. Indeed, we are talking about just a kind of a mild, muggy night tonight. Could use some cooler weather, but what we're watching on First Alert Super Doppler is this area of showers is kind of pinwheeling down right about there. Watch it come down from the north. It is pinwheeling around an area of low pressure. This could bring us a shower overnight tonight. We'll keep an eye on that right now in the metro. Just a mixture of stars and a few clouds out there. Take a look at this live picture of California dreaming. Right now we're sitting at 74 degrees. Overall, that's not looking too bad. Some other numbers right now around the area, looking at downtown at about 74, Mount Pleasant 79, Somerville 72, in the Creek 74, and about 72 out in Moncks Corner. Now, coming up new in a few minutes, we'll talk about your midweek forecast, and we're going to talk about the chance of showers. Pretty good for tomorrow. I'll have more on that, your hour-by-hour bus stop weather, and your weekend's always first. I've got that, and a look at the tropics. So a lot more weather. I know it's late, but don't you go to bed just yet.
All right, right now we're looking at video back in Charlotte, North Carolina, where protesters are responding to a man being shot by officers early this evening.
Yeah, you can see dozens of people, protesters, reports of people getting on top of patrol cars in the area. In fact, within the past hour, Charlotte Mecklenburg police have pulled some of their officers there from the scene again after a man was shot and killed there in the area.
We'll continue following it and bring you updates throughout the newscast.
Before you go to bed tonight, here is what you need to know about school tomorrow. Many districts are still closed. They include Dorchester District 2, Dorchester District 4, and Georgetown County. Colleton County schools are going to be closed tomorrow as well as Wednesday. Berkeley County schools will operate on a 1-hour delay. For the most part, Charleston County is on a normal schedule tomorrow, except for the following schools that will be closed. They are West Ashley Head Start, E.B. Ellington, Jane Edwards, and Minnie Hughes Elementary Schools. Now, the actual building of Jane Edwards will be closed for several days for repairs, but students there will be back on Thursday. They just will have to be bused to Minnie Hughes for class. As for area colleges, the Citadel will resume classes tomorrow. CFC and CSU expect to return to a normal schedule as well tomorrow. On Wednesday. And we want to alert you, parts of Dorchester County under a flood warning tonight because of concerns over the Ashley River rising. Our Jordan Wilkerson joins me now with the latest details on that. Jordan.
Lisa, we're watching a few rivers actually. We also have some warnings on Edisto and Santee, and notice those ones go until Thursday in the evening now. If you've been watching us over the past day or so, it was Tuesday morning when it was going to expire, then Wednesday, and now Thursday. And so we'll have to keep watching this to see if the waters are continuing to disrupt these rivers here, the outflow there. Let me show you though, Edisto River for Colleton, Dorchester County, that's a flood warning. The Santee River, Berkeley, Georgetown, Williamsburg, and then the one Lisa was mentioning for the Ashley River, that's affecting parts of Dorchester County, and that one actually goes until tomorrow at 12:30. So the Edisto and Santee until Thursday, the Ashley until tomorrow. But this is affecting parts of 61, 165, Cook Crossroads here in Dorchester County. So if you live anywhere near those areas, I'm sure you're already aware of the situation. We are still seeing some water in the roads. And with the Edisto River, just to give you an update, as of 10 o'clock, it is up 13.93 feet, and the Santee 13.06 feet. So something that we will continue to monitor, both of those rivers. The flood stage is 10 feet. That's why we are seeing some of that flooding. Again, those ones expire on Thursday, but each day that we've been telling you about these, they've been rising or going past a day. So something that we'll have to continue to watch for you. I'll have more on your extended forecast coming up though in just a few minutes so that you know what to expect for the rest of your week.
And many people might be planning for a different commute coming up tomorrow morning because some roads are still flooded out. Main Road and Savannah Highway on Johns Island actually reopened after being closed for most of the day today. Still a lot of power though out across the region. Our Alexis Simmons is near there on Johns Island. I'm sure people are pretty excited, pretty ready to get their electric back.
Well, Lisa, I was talking with people today, and some of them have no idea when it's going to come back on. A lot of them actually in an apartment complex that I was in today said they went to some shelters, and they also stayed with some family members during the Hurricane Matthew. When they came back, their food was spoiled. So today they were extremely thankful to have a meal from the Salvation Army.
Flooded streets, no power, limited food items, that's just some of what people are dealing with on Johns Island. Ronaldo Acosto has been using his safety lights to guide him in the dark, and today he rode his electrical chair to the store for ice.
I have no power, so no refrigeration. And my freezer, frozen foods are starting to thaw out.
He had to cross a flooded main road to do it.
On the top of the hill as carefully as I could.
That's where he ran into Lieutenant Carl Bush with the Salvation Army from North Carolina.
One of the residents came up to the truck earlier and asked what services we provide and was extremely grateful to find out that we're serving dinner.
I told him what our situation was and he said he would be here.
There for them and others. They also brought ice to families needing to keep insulin cool. It's used to control blood sugar in people with diabetes.
We made a very quick decision to just run and grab a few bags of ice, and luckily the closest convenience store had just received a new shipment of ice.
Evan Stevens is a student from Michigan experiencing his first hurricane. He's also without power.
It's difficult because I have school tomorrow. I'm a college student, and I need to prepare for my studies. I need the fridge, eat, conditions like that.
He's been worried about driving around.
Actually, I didn't know State Salvation Army was coming down here, so actually I got lucky. My car is low, and when I hit the roads, I may have flood insurance. I may lose my vehicles.
For tonight, this community is thankful for the meal.
Well, I didn't know this was going to happen, but it was just by happenstance that the truck was there, and I was able to flag it down.
And Lieutenant Carl Bush actually got involved with the Salvation Army after he was homeless for about 8 years, and he was very glad to be here to help those people out today. And many don't know the Salvation Army is actually a church as well, and tonight we're all hoping that everyone that's without power tonight regains that, because we know it's not just here on Johns Island, but also other people across the Lone Country. I'm on Johns Island. Alexis Simmons, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Alexis. Well, SCE&G, they tell us that they're hoping to have everyone's power back on by the end of the week. About 73,000 customers are still without service across the state. At its height over the weekend, about 300,000 people lost power on Saturday. Berkeley Electric and Santee Cooper say they are also working around the clock to help get customers back online. And because of those power outages, some intersections may have their traffic lights out. If that's the case, you should treat it as a stop sign. Same thing if the lights are flashing red. If the lights are flashing yellow, you should treat it as a yield sign and proceed with caution. Tomorrow, some people will be allowed to return to Edisto Island to check on their homes after that area took a big hit by the storm. Edisto police have updated who can return on their Facebook page. We've added that list to our story on live5news.com, so please check it before you try and return to the island. Many homes were damaged, hundreds of trees fell, and power lines were scattered throughout the area. Police say the roads are still extremely dangerous. Mayor Jane Darby says removing excess sand on the road is first on the to-do list. Edisto is currently under a no-swim notice as well as a boil water advisory. We alerted you to the flood warning for Dorchester County just a few minutes ago, but earlier today we talked to many neighbors there. They say tree limbs strewn across their yards. Many told us they stayed behind and did not evacuate, but that if another hurricane were to hit, they'd leave because they say it was the scariest storm they've seen. Governor Nikki Haley flew above Marion and Florence counties today to take in the damage. That's her at a news conference earlier. The governor compared it to the 1,000-year flood the state experienced last year. The governor has requested a major disaster be declared by President Obama soon. The One SC Fund raised $2 million to help with recovery efforts after last October's flooding. Well, now Governor Haley is expanding that campaign. If you'd like to donate, you can visit onescfund.org. For any of you wondering if emergency food stamps are being offered tonight, and we learned South Carolina is not operating a disaster SNAP program at the time. The Department of Social Security says if you are receiving SNAP, your monthly benefits are not affected by the storm and will be available on your EBT card as normal. If you happen to get a parking ticket in the market area of downtown Charleston today, you don't have to pay it. Those tickets will be dismissed. It covers tickets written today between 8:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. You can call the city's citizen information line to get that ticket dismissed. The funeral for the James Island native shot and killed by a Charlotte police officer last month has been scheduled. Keith Lamont Scott's funeral was postponed because of Hurricane Matthew. Scott will now be laid to rest on Friday at First Baptist on James Island. His death sparked sometimes violent protests in Charlotte. And tonight, Charlotte's city council members voted to take action to address concerns, but not before hearing from some upset residents again. Council says it hopes to establish trust in the community following Scott's death, which caused those protests there. Their plan includes reviewing police policies and procedures, creating more affordable housing, and investing $1 million in a workforce program to increase jobs, training, and opportunity. Wasn't just South Carolina recovering from the storm. The latest from Georgia and Florida just ahead for you.
This hurricane pushed between 6 and 8 feet of sand.
Start to see the damage, very scary.
That destruction is just terrible.
It's just incredible.
This is the worst thing that they have seen so far.
A lot more intense than they anticipated.
It's still a very dangerous situation.
Could be without power for several days.
The contents just strewn across the roadway.
That's what we saw during Hugo.
We go through these storms together as a community. And once again, we'll show how strong Charleston really is.